me see if I can get some energy going by just hopping
Oh,
around.
yeah. Do it. Oh, yeah.
Okay, that may sound a little weird, but whatever.
We like things that sound weird.
So I've been tired of not having two screens. So I hooked up my old 23-inch Vizio as my secondary screen.
Yeah.
I just put non-essential shit over there. So just like Discord is over there and like Spotify and all that shit, especially whenever I'm playing games with like my brother, because it got really annoying having to hit the Windows key to get out of a full screen game just to look at something else.
Right.
Because especially with PUBG, man, it would crash all the freaking time. Dude, it got so annoying. And that game made me spend $150.
Why?
So the game says, oh, you only need 6 gigabytes of RAM. That's not a lot. That's pretty low and kind of standard for most low-end PCs. And if you're a gamer PC, 8 to 16 is pretty normal too. And if you have 8, that's totally fine. Most games are fine with 8 gigs of RAM. Well, they say 6. But they lie, because every single fucking time I've played that game and I look at my task manager, it always says 7.5 gigabytes used of memory. And I'm just
God.
What the fuck? And so it would make it laggy, and whenever I would try to load into the beginning of a game, nothing would fucking load. If I loaded if I landed near any other people besides who was on my team, I would literally just have to hit the ground and then run away from where I was as soon as I hit the ground and just hope that shit loaded soon. And so I got really pissed about it, and so finally I was like, you know what, fine, I need 16 gigabytes anyway. So I bought 16 gigabytes, and RAM prices have fucking skyrocketed. So it was $150 for 16 gigs, and I just threw that into mine, and I have 24 gigabytes of RAM, and it loads beautifully.
Nice.
So nice, yes, but it was ridiculous that RAM was that expensive.
So speaking of two displays, I got that IT job,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my friend Jeff, who already works in that position, he was setting my desk up before I got there, and he sent me a message. He's like, "Hey, do you want one monitor or two monitors?" And I sent him the picture of the Cards Against Humanity card, the black card that says blank, bet you can't have just one, and I just said monitors. I'm like, Jeff, always two monitors.
Always, man.
Why would I settle for one monitor when I have the option of more than one monitor?
Dude, yeah, because I am so spoiled at work. My workstation at work is, I have a laptop, and then it sits on a dock, and then I have 2 monitors to the left and the right of it. So I have 3 screens that I work with all the time. Right. And all the time I bitch, 3 screens, and I bitch about it, because I'm just man, if I could just have a 4th fucking screen, my workflow would be so good. And you would never think dude, you have 3 screens. How does your workflow not work? Well, whenever you have one program up that constantly takes up that one monitor, and whenever you're there's a window that I always pop out of that program, because it's better to have a full screen, that pretty much takes up 2 windows, and then everything else has to cram into my center window, and so it just makes it really annoying having to click back and forth. And it's man, if I could just have that 4th monitor up there, I could throw some non-essential shit up there, and then just my workflow would be amazing. But yeah, you get used to that. And so all this past couple of weeks, because now we've got the new product in, so I'm out on the floor all the fucking time. Yeah. And dude, I miss having just 2 screens, because I'm just on one screen trying to do everything, and I'm just oh, it's so chaotic, what the fuck. Man, yeah, but always go with at least 2 screens minimum. Always, yeah.
I'm working with one right now on my desktop, but I don't do much on it. Right. So I can totally see myself getting another one at some point. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, now that I got this new job, I'm going to be able to buy a new monitor, get 2.
Yeah, for Black Friday, I'm trying to find a good deal for 2 27 inches, because I have a 27-inch HP monitor right now, but they don't make it anymore, so I can't match it.
Right.
And I can't rely on finding something else that's going to have the same like bezel style as what I currently have. And if they're too different, then it's going to just look weird. So I'm going to try to find a good deal on that. But if not, it's whatever.
Right. Yeah,
So
well.
if I do find one, you can totally have my old 27-inch.
Deal.
Done.
You heard
Boom.
it here. This is a confirmation on here. It's a record. You said I could have it if you find replacements.
Yeah, totally. If I don't, then you can just show this in court,
I will. There'll be extra views for us, so
Oh yeah, our legal battle. not even like barely 6 months in, we're already having a legal battle.
Oh god.
Man, we're like the world's best band right now.
All downhill. All downhill.
Anyway, so welcome guys to Nerdify. I don't even think the last episode we even ever said that, right?
I think it's been a couple episodes since you've actually said the name of the podcast at the beginning.
People just listen and like, what the fuck? I don't even know how they would find us, but I guess they go on the dark web and someone's just like, here, bro, here's a podcast. And they're just like, okay, cool. I don't know what podcast is. They're like, you'll listen when you find out. Then they listen. And then nothing. And
they still don't know what it is.
Mystery. And they're like, dude, I need my fix of that podcast. I need to know who it is. It only takes 3 episodes, but hey,
Oh, yeah,
More power to them, Anyway, but yeah, so welcome to Nerdify. This is a Minisode today. Just a little rant I need to go on.
Minisode number 4.
Yeah. So, this rant, it's about a beloved childhood video game manufacturer.
Yeah, get him, Reggie.
Named
you get him.
Nintendo.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So, I will tell you for sure. I used to really be a pretty hardcore Nintendo fanboy. Like, my first console ever was an SNES. And I absolutely loved the shit out of it. And we played it all the time. And of course, then after that, we got a GameCube.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, did we play the shit out of that. But so the reason this all came about is the SNES Classic. And so I've kind of already gone through this rant once with another friend, but basically the way it kind of all started was sitting there on the couch, talking, looking through Facebook Marketplace because I like to look at things that I'll never buy. And not that I can't afford it, it's just literally I like, that's a really good deal, I should buy that. But then the other part of my brain that likes to save money is like, don't do that, you may need that $100 soon. So I never do, but it's always nice to make myself feel awful. I was going through there, and of course I saw an SNES Classic, which I've been trying to scour the stores for.
Right, okay.
And I found one on there, a guy, he has like 2 of them, and he's selling them for like $150.
How much are they retail? 80? Are they 80 retail 70, or 70?
70, 80, yeah.
Whoa,
$79.
okay.
So yeah, $80. So yeah, he's trying to sell basically
double his
almost
profit.
double. Right, yeah. And granted, that's not as bad as where they started at about $200, and not as bad as where the NES Classic sit at about $200, but still, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so it like made me mad. One, like, is like, fuck scalpers. Like, why are you taking away product from people that actually want the product? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. There's a market for that stuff where you can buy and resell things, but I honestly think it's the cheap way to do it. Like, if you're going to go into the buy and resell market, I think you should do it in something in terms of like actual collectibles. And so, you go and find like good finds in places and you resell them for a slight profit. And there's people who do that all the time. People who go to like Goodwill and, oh, look, I found these like Gucci clothes or these like Tommy Hilfiger pants or this really nice like Dolce jacket or something. And they got it for, like $10, and then they go sell it on eBay for like $25. Like, hey, that's a good fucking profit. You keep doing that, you make a lot of money. But then there's like these cheap fucks who decide, I'm gonna go buy this super fucking hot new product, make sure I get all the ones that I don't need, and then I'm just gonna sell them all for like triple the price. It just pisses me off.
Right, that's a whole lot more effort to wait in that line to make sure you're one of the first people that you can get like 4 or 5, and then, but compared to what you said, just like hitting up Goodwills on like a Saturday, Sunday, and just buying things in the cheap and flipping them online, that's a whole lot less effort than trying to wait in all those lines and going through all the insanity. I mean, I guess their thought is that it's less risk because they're guaranteed to make a profit on the SNES Classic and NES Classic than they are like the Goodwill shit. But I feel like it's a lot more sleazy. Like they know they're gonna sell it for a gross profit, and it's disgusting. To be honest.
Yes, it is. And scalpers are a whole nother story. And I really want to keep this about like Nintendo. And this rant may go weird places. But anyway, so here's the thing that makes me extra mad about this is that when Nintendo did the NES Classic, they only sold it for about 6 months and then discontinued it. And they had a very low amount of stock that went out. And so, of course, the scalpers were all over that shit. Resellers were all over that shit. And people bitched and moaned and complained about the fact that there wasn't enough stock for the people who actually truly wanted the console because they wanted it as a collector's item because it meant something to them because that's what they grew up with, right?
Right.
And so Nintendo goes, yeah, we get it. Okay, we fucked up. We're going to do the SNES Classic and we will make tons more stock. We promise. There will be no problem with scalpers. We're going to make sure all the online stores can only do one at a time, and we're going to have so much stock out there that you'll find it on store shelves all the time, right?
Okay, right.
That's a fucking lie. It's such a fucking lie because that is... Okay, one, the whole online thing that happened was a complete fucking debacle. People knew that it was going to be up online at a certain time for pre-orders and everything. And then what time did they fucking do this shit? To do it at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when nobody is up and...
Except for the scalpers.
Yeah, except for the scalpers and a bunch of random ass people who either work weird shifts or just stay up late and don't give a fuck. I think that night I just happened to go to bed around midnight, which is pretty late for me, but I was thinking if I would just stay up 1 hour longer, I could have possibly gotten one.
Oh yeah.
And what's crazy is that I went to bed at midnight and I woke up at 4:45. So I'd only slept about 4.5 hours. Woke up at 4:45 that next morning and turn on my phone and I see a Slick Deals thing that says, hey, SNES Classic is up for pre-order on all these websites, and I go to every single one and they're either crashed or sold out. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I was like, okay, you know what? It's fine. They said there's gonna be plenty of stock. Either come just a couple weeks after, I should find it online, or I should at least see it in a store. I have all those opportunities. And what happens?
Nothing.
Never fucking find it in a store. Never fucking find it online. And there's only been a couple times I've gotten like little notifications or something that, hey, it's in stock at Walmart or wherever, and I get there and it's all gone. Because there are these people who know that things get stocked usually on Tuesdays and Fridays, and so they'll just not go to work that day, I guess, and just wait for this truck to show up and then go buy all of them and then leave. So Nintendo's quote unquote trying to increase stock, and everyone knows they're probably going to discontinue it around Christmas, and so it's pissing me off because it's getting to a point where I'm just like, look, the SNES was like something that meant a lot to me. Like, I could really give a fuck about playing those games on that, Right. Like, if I really wanted to, I could just fucking fire up an emulator and go play them right now. It's not that big of a deal. I want it because it's a collector's item to me and it means something to me, right? It's like a childhood nostalgia type deal. So, and I'm sure there are tons of people out there who are like that, who want this because it means something to them. Nintendo seems to have just completely fucking forgotten about their actual hardcore fans, the people who actually care about their product. They don't give a shit about them anymore. And the reason I say that is because if you're making this limited edition run of something, right?
Right, okay.
And you're gonna, you're gonna say, hey, we're only gonna run this for like 6 months and then it's gonna stop. But we fucked it up with the NES Classic, so here's what we're going to do. We want to make sure everybody who wants one will get one, okay? So, starting in, let's say, February earlier of this year, we're going to open up our online store, and for the next 4 months, you can go to nintendo.com/SNES Classic, and you can pay your $80 to pre-order it, and then we will ship it directly to you. And after the 4 months, we'll stop it and we'll say, hey, we're going to make at least this many units, and then we'll probably make at least double that. And then that way everybody who wants one will get one, and then there's stuff out there in the store for anybody else who wants one.
So before they even make the SNES Classics, they count up the pre-orders and say, okay, we need to make, 40,000 of these because we have 40,000 some odd pre-orders, and then we make the ones for the people who didn't pre-order. We send them out to the stores. I mean, that
right.
Oh my God, that'd be so much money.
Yeah, and it's guaranteed money too. And here's the thing: is that, you know, some people go like, "Oh, it's not profitable to only make 40,000 of something." Like, one,
I'm
it's
probably lowballing
Nintendo.
that too. I mean, I'm probably way lowballing.
It's probably hundreds of thousands who would want it. But one, it's fucking Nintendo. They're gonna have deals with all these manufacturers, and they're gonna be able to get pretty good turnarounds on most of these. And then two, just because only, let's say, 300,000 people pre-order this doesn't mean that they can't make 500,000 units and ship off the rest of them, you know?
Right.
And then they'll still make all their money. So that's the thing, is that they don't have to, you know, all they're doing is guaranteeing, hey, our hardcore fans, we hear you. We'll make sure you get one because we know how hard these can be to find out in the wild. You know, it's not that hard to do something like that. It just seems to me a little irresponsible of Nintendo to try to just go like, oh, well, you can find it in the store, but if not, then oh well. And so the reason why I feel like they're doing this is because... Okay, so I feel that Nintendo always was about their fans. They were always about their hardcore fans. All the way from the SNES, all the way from the NES up till at least the GameCube. They were like, you know, we're making stuff for our fans. We're gonna make sure that they are satisfied with our product, and you know, and we know that that's who our core audience is.
Right.
All the way up until you get to the motherfucking Wii, okay? And that's where everything changed for Nintendo, and that's where they stopped giving a shit about their core audience, because they put the Wii out and it became this huge sensation, and everybody and their fucking grandmother, not like exaggeration, literally everyone and their fucking grandparents had a fucking Wii. Everyone did. Yeah. You know, that thing sold like crazy because it was so accessible. And then Nintendo like fucking jizzed their pants over the fact, oh my God, we have this massive fucking audience now. We don't just have these like core gamers. We have the core gamers and their brothers and their sisters and their aunts and their grandparents and their dogs.
Because, I mean, yeah, the first wave of Wiis, of course the hardcore gamers are going to buy because that's their audience. Like, oh, it's a new Nintendo system, let's get it. But then after that, yeah, then the younger audiences and then the older audiences realized how accessible it was, and then they started getting on it. And that's when the core gamers started fading away because they realized it was mainly just a whole bunch of shovelware just to use the waggle function. And yeah, so it kind of, like for a hot second, they had everybody. Until they abandoned their core audience, who they had, the hardcore gamers, who they had basically lifers that were Nintendo people for life, much like you and me. I mean, yeah, I kind of went away from Nintendo after the Wii came out, not because I didn't specifically like the Wii. I just didn't like how much shovelware, like it felt like basically like the Android market is now. Like all the mobile games, like anything someone makes, they can get on there. You know, it just like felt like everything was on the Wii, and it was just kind of overwhelming and kind of disappointing. So
right.
That's when I started moving more towards Sony, to be honest, because I wanted that. I did want that the same feeling I used to get when Nintendo was for me, and you know, the hardcore gamer and their longtime fans and people who grew up with them. I could just get that feeling better from Sony, even though they were a completely different feel. It was so closer to what Nintendo used to give me than what they did after the Wii came out.
Right. Yeah, and so, you know, like. Up until that point, you know, I was like hardcore Nintendo. I was like, man, fuck PlayStation 2, fuck the Xbox. I got me a GameCube. I don't need your shit. I got this Mario all day motherfucking long. You know, I was totally 100% about that shit. And then they announced the Wii. And okay, look, I get, like, I don't remember the exact reasons that they named it the Wii. I think I had to do a play off of, like, some Japanese word and also just a Wii play type deal. Like, it's you and me, Wii.
Right. We would like to play.
Right, but honestly, you can't approach an American market like that and not expect some of your fans to go like, the fucking Wii? I don't want to be seen owning a Wii. That sounds so stupid. And honestly, that's kind of like made me a little distant about it up until I saw the motion controls and I was like, interesting. And then yes, then we got one and it was all right. It was pretty good. And then yes, shovelware after shovelware. And after I saw the decline of the quality of games that were coming into Nintendo and all you could rely on for a good game was the core one or first party games, then I was done. I was like, you know, fuck this. Xbox 360, what's up, baby? Come talk to me.
I defended the Wii for longer than I should have because, I mean, I was a hardcore Nintendo fan, and I was upset that people were abandoning it at first, and then they did things like they ported over some games like, I think it was Call of Duty World at War or something, and I was like, see, we still have the hardcore shit, and then I see it, and it's like totally different from the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions, and I'm like, God damn it, I can't defend this anymore. I can't. There's no way for me to defend this. I'm so sorry, Wii. I have to leave. I can't do this anymore. You're not helping me out.
Yeah, and so not only did at that point with the Wii, whenever they go, hey, we got this massive broad audience, now we're a family company. Oh man, we're gonna be all about the kiddos and the parents playing together. Ooh, bringing all these generations together. Whippity woppity, like that's like what they were about. And when the third party,
did you say whippity woppity?
I did fucking say whippity woppity. That's how
what's whippity woppity?
That's how fanciful Nintendo got with their shit. Like in their like ideal like fucking world, they were just like, this is gonna be forever, and it's not.
I'm gonna use that. Oh my god.
But James, stay focused.
Sorry.
No, but so Nintendo was like, they were thinking this is gonna be fucking forever. This will be the way Nintendo is for all of eternity. But no, whenever you get away from those core gamers, guess what? To everyone else, it's a fucking fad, and that's what it was. There was so much shovelware and bloatware thrown into the Wii. That's
exactly what it was.
Yeah, all the big time, video game developers saw the Wii and go, yeah, we'd love to port our game to it, but we'd have to downgrade it so much. And honestly, we don't know if it would work all that well with the Wii. And then do we have to do waggle control bullshit? It feels like Nintendo's probably going to force us to do something because it's their innovative control system. And so third-party developers like fleed from the Wii, and they're like, we'll just not do that. And so then, at that point, I was all about like Microsoft and Xbox and everything, and then I started to like switching, like you said, slowly to Sony. I got a PS3 and now a PS4 because I felt like they were still looking at that core audience and going, "Hey, you 24-year-old, you 38-year-old, we know you're where we started at. We know you're the people we need to pay attention to because you're the ones that are going to be buying our games, not the 12-year-olds. Yes, y'all will be the ones who guide our way into the future and will bring your kids and all these ones with you. We can't rely on these little kids to take us anywhere because we could just be a fad," because they looked at the Wii, and that's exactly what happened. And then so Nintendo was so fucking greedy with their Wii success that they decided, we're just gonna call our next console the Wii U. No. Before we go any further, I do want to say Nintendo has had certain naming conventions with their consoles. The only time they've repeated a name is with the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo. Okay? Like, that's fine.
Okay, yeah.
It makes sense because of the fact that they go, hey, the video game market, whenever the NES came out, the Famicom, whenever it came out, the video game market was shit. It had tanked hard, and Nintendo brought it back. And so they go, well, we want to release another updated console with better graphics and everything else. How are we going to do that? We have to make sure it's named something familiar so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Because when the NES came out and it was a huge success, there was a lot of consoles coming up out of nowhere. And so they named it the Super Nintendo, the Super Famicom. Okay, makes sense. But then they immediately move on to the next one. And what is it? They go, hey, it's going to be the N64. Cool. And then you got the GameCube. All right, awesome. And then you got the Wii. Well, whatever, right? So their naming conventions with their handhelds is different. It is markedly different because each iteration is just a slight update instead of a completely brand new architecture. So you go from the Game Boy to the Game Boy Pocket, which is just a much smaller Game Boy. And then you go to the Game Boy Color, has a color screen now. Then you go to the Game Boy Advance, has a backlight, right? And then you go to the Game Boy Advance SP, which is just a clamshell version, makes it a little more portable, protects the screen, right? And then you go to the Nintendo DS, and then you get the DSi, and the DS XL and DSi XL, and then you get to Nintendo 3DS, and then the 3DS XL, and then the 2DS. Like, they keep the handhelds pretty much right in line because then people know kind of what to expect, and each one is only going to be slightly different, you know? So that they've had that naming convention, and then out of nowhere they decide with the Wii U, and the only fucking reason that they did that shit is because of the success of the Wii. They wanted their next console to have fucking Wii in the name, so that way people go like, oh look, it's another one, let's buy it. But that's your problem. Whenever you go and you decide that you're going to appeal to just outside the hardcore gaming unit, and you name it the exact same thing but just one letter at the end different, people don't know that's a new console. They think, oh, it's just a re-release, right? Like the PS3 Slim, you know, that's what it is, right?
It's kind of funny that they have, at this point in time, they had a whole new audience with super young people and super old people, yet they didn't realize how naming it that way would totally confuse them. Because a lot of people that were looking to get the Wii U get a Wii, the Wii U, they thought the Wii was the Wii U because they just see Wii and then they stop reading and I want that, and because it's cheaper, I want that, it's cheaper. And then they want to go buy, say they have a Wii and they want to go buy a game, then they go to the Wii U section, they think, oh, it says Wii on it, so even though it says Wii U, it's still a Wii game, I'll get that, and it doesn't work. It was just a very not well thought out move on their part. Because even they knew their audience. Yeah. But they didn't think about their naming convention and how that was going to affect the sales and how people would perceive that. It was very confusing.
Yeah, I mean, and it tells you something of someone like me who pays very close attention to the video game world. Whenever I first heard about the Wii U, I go, is that just like a Wii update? Because they've never done that with any of their consoles. If you hear Nintendo DSi, you go, oh, okay, it's just a DS with a camera. But if you hear Wii U, you think, oh, yeah, is it just a Wii with a DVD player in it? Like, what is it?
Yeah, it really did not help that the Wii U looked pretty close to a Wii. It looked almost exactly like a Wii. It used, if it didn't have the screen pad, it used just regular Wii controllers. So you see that in the box, and it looks almost exactly like a Wii. It has this extra special controller, and then it uses Wii controllers. So honestly, you're gonna think, oh, I don't have to buy this, I already have a Wii. And then it's just it all just was not great.
No, not at all. And so, you know, that happened, and then of course what happens, because one, it was a fad, and then two, it was you know, like a same naming convention. They go, all these people that they had brought in that they were like, yes, we have everybody, they just poof, disappeared. And what happens? You're left with nothing but your hardcore gamers who had bought the console. And then, of course, by this point, third-party developers were not fucking touching Nintendo consoles with a 10-foot pole. And so you had almost no support in terms of games for this system. And all you had was, like, first-party games. And that fucking system tanked. Because, I mean, that was one of the quickest console turnarounds I had ever seen. Because the Wii U was announced at the same time as the PS3 the PS4 and the Xbox One, like around the same time, right? I think
the same year, I believe. So, closer around the same time.
Relatively close. Like the Wii U was going to compete with these, right? Because the Wii was competing with the 360 and PS3, and so we haven't even hit like barely to the halfway point, and all of a sudden, boom, you have the Switch, right? And it's because Nintendo quickly realized we fucking abandoned our core audience, and we thought that these other people that came in were going to be Nintendo people forever, but they're not. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I know that are older than like 45 that wish they had never bought a Wii, or just trying to sell it for $5 because they don't even want it anymore, you know? That's just the way they are now. Yeah, it'd be different if you could play DVDs and Blu-rays on it, because people would at least keep it for that, but you can't even do that with it, so nobody wants it anymore. But anyway, so Nintendo is like, you know, now they're like, oh, we're all about the hardcore gamers, and these guys, you know, it's not as great graphics as it used to be, but hey, it's up there, it's HD and it's looking good, and you can take it with you anywhere. Like they're going all out with the Switch. And, they're trying to be like, okay, look, man, not only are we going to have these family-friendly first-party games, man, we're going to let 30 parties do whatever they want. Like, oh, you want crazy, bloody, violent stuff? You got it. You want super sexy, crazy stuff? You got it. Like, they're just like accepting anything to let people know, like, hey, we're back at trying to let the hardcore gamers know, like, we're with you. You bring in what you want. We're gonna be right there with you.
Did you forget about the Wii Mini?
Yeah, I actually did forget about the Wii Mini because
do you know what I mean? What do you even know what it was? I mean, I
remember it was a very pared down Wii U. Like, let
me tell you, it's not even a Wii U. It's a Wii.
I mean, sorry, yeah, Wii.
Yeah, let me tell you what it doesn't do, and then you tell me what's left, what it does.
Okay.
It's first of all, it doesn't connect to the internet.
Okay.
And it does not play GameCube games.
Okay.
Or have any slot for GameCube accessories like the controllers. So literally all it does is play Wii games offline.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
The Wii was like Nintendo's first real online system. It wasn't even that great, but it was still their first delve into the having an online system. And then they go and make a cheap. I mean, this Wii was already cheap at this point, and they make a cheaper version, right. Basically the the PlayStation Slim version of their product to be even cheaper, and they take out one of the features that was really, making them somewhat comparable to the current generation. I mean,
right, the internet connectivity.
And then also backwards compatibility. Like, their competitors were doing that.
Right. I don't know.
Okay, anyway, back on, I when you were talking about the Wii, it just popped into my head how ridiculous the Wii Mini was.
Yeah.
So I had to look it up, and just to make sure it was indeed that shitty, and it was.
It's, I think it was just a weird cash grab for them trying to come back and go let's make a bigger profit on this. It's already so popular.
It was basically a Nintendo brand doorstop.
Yeah, it was bad.
Paperweight.
But yeah, so with the Switch, they're trying to become relevant again. And Nintendo kind of has already known that whenever something about theirs has a lot of hype, there tends to be a lot of demand for it, and so people want to buy it. And you would think that they would anticipate the production needs for something like this. And with the Switch, it's semi-forgivable because they did say they were going to produce quite a few, and they ended up outselling a ton of them. I mean, it was nuts. But still, I feel like they purposefully were just okay, so the Wii went crazy, and it was almost impossible to find it on the release day, and people were selling it online for crazy amounts of money, which is kind of typical for a lot of really popular consoles at launch. But the thing about it is that even with the Wii, if you waited just a month or two, you could find it in the store, and it would be no problem.
Oh yeah,
and that was a pretty fucking popular console. Now, with the Switch, that was a totally different thing. They said, I get maybe they were underestimating a little because they were really, we don't know how popular this is going to be. The Wii U tanked like shit, so we don't know where we stand in terms of our sales, right? That's
right.
All right to think. But they get this huge demand. They see how popular it is. Instead of increasing their production, they just do nothing because they know what's going to happen, which is it's going to sell like crazy. And literally about 2 weeks ago was the first time since launch, which is February, March, something like that.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I have actually seen a Switch on the shelf.
I saw one the other day, actually.
And then just this, a couple of days ago, I just saw 4 sitting on a shelf, and I was like, what the fuck? And it's the fact that it has taken this long to get to a point where you can start seeing them regularly on the shelves without them flying off is insane. And it really isn't about, we just couldn't produce enough. I feel like Nintendo's purposely doing this to create a false sense of high demand, right? I mean, yes.
Oh yeah.
The Switch has sold a shit ton of consoles. I get that, and there are numbers out there proving it. And it's one of the highest selling ones. It's outselling the PS4 and everything. I get it, but honestly, you also have to think, yes, it's outselling the PS4, which has been out for 3 or 4 years now.
Right.
So Yeah, it's gonna kind of outsell it because it's not the peaks that it was whenever it was first selling. So I get all that, but still, I think they could have prepared a little bit better for it, or even after the first couple of months been like, hey, we need you to ramp up production like big time, like right now, just whoosh, lean in a ton of them, right? They didn't do that. And then so I feel like they're also doing the same thing, coming all the way back around with the NES and the SNES Classics, because they want to seem relevant again. They want those people who left them after the Wii, this broader audience, they want them to see, oh, look, all these people are wanting these Nintendo products. They must be selling a good console again. Maybe it'll be like the Wii. Ooh, we should buy a Switch. We should buy a SNES Classic. We should buy a NES Classic. We should buy this. We should, and that's what they're trying to really push for. I feel like Nintendo is really trying to do all this stuff to make it seem like there's this massive audience now who wants it and be like, oh, it's another Nintendo fad. Let's latch onto it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
the only people who are falling for that are the people who are out of touch with the gaming industry, like the people who had the NES, had an NES and a Super Nintendo, and then stopped playing games, and then all of a sudden now they see that and it, nostalgia kicks in. Oh, I gotta get it, and then they don't realize when they can't find it that what Nintendo's doing. They just think, oh, it's selling like hotcakes. I gotta make sure I gotta get the next order. But people like us we clearly see what's going on, and it's not cool.
Right, and it's really, they're saying they're all about the hardcore gamers, but really they're just like fucking the hardcore gamers. The people who actually want their products now have to go through other sources because they're buying out that product and reselling it online for insane amounts.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo had by trying to get a wider audience with the younger and older people, they have abandoned the middle ground where the hardcore gamers are. And I see they're desperately trying to get us back, but if they want to do that, they're going to have to do something that does alienate the super young crowd and super old crowd, because they cannot have both, because they're just, you hit that middle ground where we are, and it's just such a different world in video games. Like, yes, some of the stuff I can, like, I want to Switch, honestly, but once again, it's for the first party titles.
Right.
But at the same time, like, it's not something, like, I don't have to have it right now. Like, I can wait till I save up the money. Like, I'm not desperate to scrape up $300 to go and get one. I'll wait till I comfortably have the money and then happen to see one on the shelf. No big deal, Right. Yeah, and I think that's honestly like something that kind of like hurts the people who may have fallen away from Nintendo, like me and you. If the Switch was like the first 3 or 4 months while the Switch, when it had come out, I was gung-ho about like, if I can buy one, I will fucking buy one. And I never found one. And now it's 7-8 months later, and now I see like 4 or 5 on the shelf, and I'm just like, I could buy one right now, but I'm not. I'll wait. And there's tons of games out for right now that I would love to play, like Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey, and the re-upped version of Mario Kart. I mean, all this stuff that like I could totally get behind and play, but because of the fact that they've had such low stock, now it's just a point where I really don't care if I get one or not, And the same thing with this SNES Classic, that the fact that they're saying, oh, we'll have so much more, but clearly they don't have that much more, makes it to a point of like, well, if I don't get one, I guess I don't get one. And that's really depressing and really sad to think that they would, do something like they would go that far and just not think about how this is affecting some of the people that they could actually bring back into their fold. So. Oh, man.
Yeah, but that's my whole big rant. Whether it's right or wrong, especially about the speculation stuff, I mean, take it all with a grain of salt. It's an op-ed, whatever, but that's just how I feel. I feel like Nintendo is playing Two-Face, where they're saying, oh, we care about you guys, but they really don't. They just care about trying to become relevant again and to reclaim that audience they lost after the Wii.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's just about printing money now.
Yeah, especially because they're so far behind with the whole console thing, like with the fact that their online is atrocious, and this shit has been done by by Sony and Microsoft for years, and the fact that they don't really have strong third-party support, and some of the best games that come out for PS3, for the PlayStation and the Xbox are third-party games. They can be really, really fucking good, and because Nintendo decides to keep taking a different route and not paying attention to that hardcore unit, then they keep alienating themselves further and further, and they're only making it harder and harder to climb that mountain back up into their top spot.
Most definitely. Oh man, that was quite a rant, Reggie. That was quite a rant. Yeah. Do you feel better now?
Yes. I feels good to get it off my... Yes, my chest is much lighter.
So you want to go get a Switch tomorrow?
Yeah.
Sweet.
No. Sponsored by Nintendo.
Oh, man. They would never.
Especially after this one.
Right.
Yeah. No, they're fine as long as we don't show exactly 3 nanoseconds of their gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
And otherwise, they don't give a shit, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. They'll find it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, oh yeah, they have their little AI bots out there.
Oh god.
So thank you guys for listening to that.
Yeah, and if you have any sort of 2 cents to add, we're always willing to have a conversation, either here on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this podcast, or on Facebook or Twitter. Just hit us up. We'll conversate anywhere. Basically, we're always there.
Yeah, totally love to have some constructive conversation about this shit. I think it'd be interesting to hear what everyone else's opinions are on it. Maybe I'm the fucking schizo, I don't know, weirdo opinion here, totally outlier, and just people look at this and just go dude, chill the fuck out. It's not that serious, but maybe it is. I don't know. I need validation, or I need no validation.
Why should we chill out? Tell us why we should chill out.
Yeah, please. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining this kind of long minisode.
Yeah. It's an in-between-isode.
Yeah, so you can find us anywhere that you can find podcasts, like Podbean, iTunes, especially if you don't want to listen to it on YouTube. But if you've gotten this far, then clearly you're okay with listening to it on YouTube. Stitcher Radio is another one.
Oh, Stitcher, yep.
Just plenty of places.
We're on Castbox too, apparently. I don't know how we got there, but we're there.
Somehow, magic, I guess, of the internet. But yeah, so you can find us other places. Leave likes or stars, ratings
would help. Most definitely.
Yes, and it's nice to have. So yeah, we will see you guys next week. And this has been Reggie
and James.
You guys have a good one.
All right, see ya.